to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today is the very first show of 2022. Welcome. Now, I want to ask you, do you ever remember being so tuned into a new year starting? I mean, I know typically we tend to get involved in the hype of a new year, but this year, on the heels of 2020, it seems like we're all really ready to move on. And there's something about it becoming a new year that we're like saying, it's enough, it's over, right? With the challenges, the stress, and the unhappiness of everything the last 2 years have brought. And let's not forget the silver linings, right? The surge in business in the home industry, which had its own challenges. And of course, our newfound appreciation for the little things, like then when we could go to a restaurant or gather with friends and not ask who's been vaccinated and who's had a rapid test, right? It just seems like enough. And somehow, I don't think it really is going to be different from one day to the next. But when it's a new year, it feels like we can just say goodbye, see ya. Don't let the door hit you in the you know what, right? And I don't really want to belabor the points because I know that between all the rating I do for Window Fashion Vision Magazine, AD Pro, all the conversations here on the show, and the speaking engagements, I know that I have shared my feelings over and over throughout the year. This tsunami of business over the last 20 months has been really hard. I've said it in my own personal experience. It has been harder than any recession I've ever been through. And of course, it's been a double-edged sword. Just like you, I'm grateful for the increased business opportunities, but like you, I'm exhausted and frustrated by the product delays, the staffing shortages, closing for quarantining because of real illnesses, right? And then the contact as like closing for the possibility because somebody's been in contact with somebody that's been ill, right? It's been a lot. So now what? Well, it's one foot in front of the other, isn't it? What else can you do? I'll tell you what I usually do. I make lists. I decide what I will do and what I will not do. I map out my non-negotiables and I make a plan to make them happen. It makes me feel better, right? Now, before I get to telling you how I do that, I want to tell you about this month's Inside Voice, Outside Voice. If you haven't heard of this yet, then it probably means you're not on my mailing list, which I would love for you to change that right now. You can get on my mailing list by going to luannigara.com/goodies, where you will also get to look through all the various tip sheets and all the things that we've shared out over the years. Okay, so who knows what you'll learn. But then you'll also be in on all the things that are happening here. So Inside Voice, Outside Voice is a monthly live Zoom meeting, all right? Every month, I get together with you, whoever signs up, and we talk about real stuff. You can ask me any question you want. You get to hear the challenges your peers are facing, and guess what? Through their questions and the answers, you learn something too. It's straight talk. It's not recorded. It's all inside voice, okay? And the cool thing is one half of all of the tickets I give to a charity every month. All right. And this month's charity, which was thoughtfully brought to my attention by my friend Cheryl Luckett of Dwell by Cheryl, is the Vogue Room Foundation. The Vogue Room Foundation is an offshoot of the Vogue Room Interior Design, whose founder is Ebony Staton, a self-proclaimed chic geek and interior stylist and the founder of the very trendy blog, The Vogue Room. Here's what their website says. The Vogue Room Foundation is a nonprofit organization that provides graduating minority high school students who are now first-generation college students with a stylist dorm room makeover, okay, to help with a successful transition into university living. Upon enrollment into the program, the recipient will be granted full funding for the interior design and installation of their on-campus housing, right? The students must be attending a university or a college in Georgia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, or Virginia, all right? It says the vision of the Vogue Room Foundation is to build lasting impressions and hope for minority first-generation college students. The Vogue Room strives to set a confident tone to the qualified collegiate. Home is where the heart is, and we want to create a comfortable yet chic environment to help achieve their goals while living away from home. Pretty awesome, isn't it? So, join me and Ebony this Thursday, January 6, 2022 for Inside Voice, Outside Voice. All right, she'll be there. We'll get to learn a little bit more from her about the Vogue Room Foundation. And then we're going to spend some time talking about goal setting and more importantly, about achieving your goals in 2022. All right. So if you want to join us, go to InsideVoiceOutsideVoice.com, or you can go over to my link tree in Instagram and you will find the link to sign up there. All right, now, I have a little bit of a funny story about goal setting to share with you quickly. 2 weeks ago, I was running around getting ready for Christmas Eve, and I was thinking about how the following week, the Vincennes and I would be at our beach house over the break, okay? And then that got me to thinking how I would take time during that week to write out my plans and goals for 2022. Then that got me to thinking what I thought was, by the way, a very original thought. I thought, I should make a list of specifically 22 goals for 2022. All right. Then that got me to thinking. So by now you figured it out. I am the epitome if you give a mouse a cookie. All right. Every day, all day, every idea goes down 16,000 rabbit holes. It's sort of insane. Okay. Anyway, but that got me to thinking I should share this idea with you and make it the theme for today's show, the very first show of 2022. Excellent idea, right? Catchy. So there I am in aisle 6, buying up all the lobster tails in sight for our 7 fishes feast, feeling pretty darn clever about myself and my idea. Smiling and humming along with the store music, I finished shopping and headed home to get our feast underway. Fast forward not 2 hours later, I decided to take a little break, have a cup of tea because I'm running around like a lunatic, and I sit down with my cup of tea and I open Instagram. The very first post I see, not the second, not the third, not the 50th, the first one I see is Gretchen Rubin literally sharing a picture of the 21 goals she wrote last year for 2021 and asking us, all of us, to create our list of 22 goals for 2022. All right, this is crazy bad poop stuff, right? You can't make this up. I laughed at the wild coincidence of it, and I had a little laugh at myself at my own hubris, right? So sometimes you have a really good original idea, and sometimes you have a really good already thought of idea, right? No matter. I still like the idea. So I decided I would set 22 goals, and I further decided I would divide them into the 4 areas that make sense to me, okay? And they are personal goals, LuAnn Nigara Inc. goals, WindowWorks goals, and exciting Windows goals, all right? And then I said, whoa, that's going to be a lot of goals. That's a lot of categories. That's a lot of places. Like, I'm going to need something, some mechanism to keep bringing me back to this throughout the year, right? So then I did some more thinking and I said, I need a little acronym. I need a little acronym to create focus and intention for myself, okay? I didn't want the list to be today's list and forgotten. And I knew I wanted a quick trigger, okay, to inspire me to stick with it. So I spent some time kicking this idea around, and this is what I came up with. And I'm sharing it with you because you can either borrow it and use it yourself, or maybe it might inspire you to come up with an acronym that speaks to you and who you are and what you're about. Either way, the goal is to be able to call up the acronym when your drive, your willpower, your mojo is a little low or a little rocky. Right? It's designed to snap you back to your own attention, to snap you back to this moment of creating your goals, to re-engage you with your why so that you can and do stay on track. So take a wild guess what my acronym stands for. I'll give you a moment. Get your guests together. It's not going to be hard, right? Okay, you probably got it. Decide to be excellent. All right. And here is my take on effective, intentional, doable, achievable goals. Decide to be excellent. D, design. Design your life. Begin by designing how it looks, how it works, how it feels, how it happens. Design your ideal day, week, year. Actually imagine your ideal life. Take time with this. Combine all the areas, personal, professional, emotional, spiritual. What does your dream life look like? Design it. Okay. Then you've heard of backward goal setting, right? This is when you decide first what you want, then you work backward and plug in the steps to get there. I remember way back in the beginning of the show, Krista Cooper was on and she described this in the episode, and we'll put the episode in the show notes. She did an exercise where she started with the ideal salary, like the earnings that a fictional designer wanted to make by the end of a year. And then she said, well, how many weeks does this designer want to work? And how many hours per week does this designer want to work? And then she outlined how you design your hourly rate for yourself and your employees, your pipeline, everything you need to achieve it. Okay, so I highly encourage you to check it out. This is a very terrific, eye-opening episode if you haven't heard it yet. Okay, so step one, design your business life, your family life, your personal day-to-day life. You have to know what you want before you can decide what you will do to get it, right? Okay, so decide to be excellent. So now it's T, timeline. I have timeline for T. I would hope that this is pretty obvious, okay? Because I'm going to be just a tiny bit blunt here. And I'm going to tell you that if you don't attach timelines and deadlines to your goals, then I don't really think you get to call them a goal. Those are wishes. Those are hopes. Those are thoughts, okay? And I don't know about you, but I think if you listen to this show, that you're a doer. You are a person who makes things happen. You are people that get things done. And people who get things done have timelines, established timelines for each goal. Some may be 1 day, some may be 2 months, some goals may be 10 years. Okay, just like your design projects. If you are the kind of firm that when you take a check from a client, you also set a date for the client presentation, then it gets done, doesn't it? But if you're the kind of firm that you take a check from a client and say, we'll get the proposal to you in the next couple of weeks, it gets pushed to the curb, doesn't it? You do other things when you should be doing that, right? I know I'm right. I talk to you guys on the regular. I know I'm right, okay? So I want to tell you that you must establish timelines. So you must establish them in your design projects, and you must establish them for your goals. And I also want to tell you, if you want a great listen, a great episode about the power of establishing timelines in your interior design projects, you must listen to Sarah Brennan's episode, okay? And if you are not already a believer in establishing milestone deadlines for your design projects at the start of the project, you will be after that episode. Check the show notes for that number, okay? All right. Now we're on B, decide to be excellent. B, for me, I've picked the word bounty. I believe there is more than enough for everyone. I believe in more than enough for ourselves, for our friends, family, colleagues, and for the world. I believe the more we create, the more we share, the more we give, the more creative we become, the more doors open to us, and the more we receive in happiness, in experiences, in all the things. So when you set your goals for 2022, just like I'm going to do for myself, think about the bounty that you have the power to create, to share, and to give. It could be that you have the power to share words, actions. Maybe you have the power to share silent prayers. Be generous to yourself and be generous to others. Consider the people in your life that you have the ability to help, to shine a light on. Attach your own goals to helping those around you achieve their goals, and you will create lasting positive change for both of you. And I believe if we all do this, we will all be the better for it. And then finally, E, decide to be excellent. E, I chose the word emotional. I have learned no matter how crazy an idea that I have is, no matter what the odds stacked against that plan or the goal is, I've learned that whenever I am emotionally connected to the outcome, when I'm like really passionate about achieving it, I've always been able to make it happen. Always. It doesn't matter if the goal has been a realistic one, a reasonable one, or a logical one. The differentiating factor is always the emotion I have attached to the outcome. Seeing it, feeling it, reveling in the realness of it, seeing it as clear as day. This is critical in goal setting. Okay? Because let's be serious for a moment. Setting and reaching goals is hard enough without kidding ourselves that because we put a goal on a list, on a piece of paper, that we are going to care more about it just because we wrote it down, right? If you want something, but you don't have the emotion attached to it, ask yourself why. Is it something you think you should want or do? Is it something you really do want, but you're afraid to go for it, so you don't go all in, fearing you will not achieve it? The thing is to look inside, look deep. The real thing is to be real with yourself. There's nobody in your head but you. Just speak the truth in there, okay? I'll tell you a perfect example for me is Instagram. My Instagram account has literally grown organically for 6 years, more or less by anywhere from 50 to 100 followers per month, okay? On one hand, I'm certainly aware and grateful for the 19,000 followers that I have, and if you're one of them, yay and thank you, okay? On the other hand, logically, I know by now it should be an account with 3, 4, 5 times the size, especially based on the number of listeners I actually see documented in my podcast stats. Further, I have interviewed literally dozens of our colleagues, from heavy hitters like Shay McGee, Amber Lewis, Chris Loves Julia, Jacqueline Marie, Demetrius Robinson, Darla Powell of Wingnut Social. Each one of these people has given you and me the exact steps and strategies that they use to create their massive Instagram following. Some of them in the hundreds of thousands, okay? And I've even had conversations off air with them, telling me things what to do, okay? Every week, almost every week, my team suggests things, cajoles, tries to bribe me to do the known tactics that I refuse to do in order to grow the following, right? Why? Does it make sense to do it? Does it make sense to grow the following? Does it make good business sense for me to grow the following? Of course it does. If I had 100,000 more followers, there'd be that many more listeners of the show, that many more people who might buy my books, that many more people who would know about and benefit from Lu University courses, that many more people who would join EW, Exciting Windows, and make their window treatment businesses more profitable, that many more organizations who would hire me to speak to their companies and at their events. These are all things I want. These are all actual real goals on my 2022 list. So why don't I do it? I cannot, at least so far, and it's going on 6 years now, I cannot connect any emotion to growing the Instagram list. All right, now don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am 1,000% grateful and appreciative for the 19,000 of you that are following me. I love the interaction. I love the comments both on the posts. I love the comments in the DMs. Okay. But I don't have the passion, the drive to make it grow other than organically. I want it done, but obviously not enough to take ownership of it and do what needs to be done. So I do task my team with coming up ways to do it outside of me and my involvement, right? But the key here is that I have to be realistic, don't I? I can't want something, have the path, the knowledge, the tools, and not do the things to expect the right results, right? I can't look at this team and say 100K this year or bust and then not do my part. No. I have to be realistic and face that I'm not emotionally invested in the outcome of personally growing my following to the hundreds of thousands. So when the results are slow and steady rather than like a speeding train, as it has been for the others that I mentioned, that's on me. All right. And so my point is, I'm just taking this a moment to say, because I don't put on my goal list 100,000 followers for Instagram, because I already know. I know what to do, and I have absolutely no intention of doing it. Like that's just the truth of it. And I feel like I have so many things that I could put my attention to, that I am emotionally connected to and passionate about, that's where I'm spending my time and my energy. Okay? And I want you to think about that when you make your goals. Okay? Be clear. Be straight with yourself. And list the things you know you really want and that you will do whatever it takes to get. They might still be really hard, okay? It might be a really high bar. That's okay. It's the goal of 100K followers on Instagram. I'm not doing it because it's too high. I'm just looking in the mirror going, I'm not going to do what it takes. Okay, I'm going to take the results of it. I'm going to take, the downside with it, but I'll do other things this year, and it's fine with me. So figure out what you're emotionally connected to. Tap into that, because you know what? That's where the magic is. That's where the magic is. All right? So, design, timeline, bounty, emotional. Decide to be excellent. I say it every week. Don't let it drown out. Don't gloss over the words. Think about them. Connect them to your world in a meaningful way. Decide to be excellent. Design, timeline, bounty, emotional. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm wishing you the happiest of 2022s. Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnn Nigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.